What if the man you thought was yours turned out to be the very same man your closest friend was secretly seeing behind your back? That's the jaw-dropping storyline that has left fans in utter disbelief as whispers of a shared boyfriend between Ty and Evelyn have turned into explosive drama. The shocking twist came to light after a night that nobody saw coming, one filled with accusations, hidden truths, and raw emotions boiling over until it erupted into chaos, according to the chatter making waves online. Ty felt blindsided when a secret she thought would never surface suddenly spilled out in front of everyone. The moment she realized Evelyn had been with the same man she had called her own, tempers flared, voices rose. And what started as tension quickly escalated into an all-out confrontation. Fans are calling it one of the wildest scandals in recent memory, describing it as a storyline straight out of a reality TV script, but with emotions so raw it feels painfully real. People are divided, some siding with Ty's heartbreak, while others argue Evelyn's side of the story needs to be heard too. But no matter whose version you believe, one thing is certain: this reveal has changed everything. The night began with what was supposed to be a casual gathering among friends, a setting where laughter and music filled the air. And no one could have predicted the storm that was quietly brewing beneath the surface. Ty arrived looking radiant, yet reserved, her energy noticeably different from her usual carefree presence. Evelyn, on the other hand, appeared confident, almost glowing. Unaware, or perhaps unbothered by the whispers that were beginning to circle the room? People exchanged glances, sensing that something unspoken lingered between them, but no one dared to bring it up. What triggered the sudden eruption of chaos was not just the rumor itself, but the way it came out. According to those who witnessed the unfolding drama, a friend casually mentioned the man in question, joking about his charm and how he seemed to have a way of making women feel special. The atmosphere shifted instantly, because in that single moment, Ty's face stiffened and her expression gave away that she had personal knowledge of this man. Evelyn, noticing the change, laughed lightly. But her laugh carried a nervous edge, as though she knew the truth was about to spill. The silence was broken by Ty's voice, sharp and direct. "So you're telling me you've been seeing him, too?" she asked, her tone laced with disbelief and anger. The room froze as Evelyn's smile faded, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. "What are you talking about?" Evelyn tried to deflect, but Ty wasn't letting it go. Fans who later heard about this exchange described it as a moment of pure television-worthy tension, where time seemed to slow, and everyone present realized they were witnessing a bond unravel right in front of them. Ty's hands shook, not just with rage, but with betrayal, as she revealed, "He's been with me for months, and you knew it." Evelyn's defense was quick but shaky. "I didn't know you were with him, seriously. He told me you were done." The words stung Ty, not because they weren't believable, but because they highlighted the cruel reality of being played by someone she trusted. Her voice cracked as she shouted back, "Done. He was with me last weekend. How dare you act like you didn't know?" The room filled with gasps, people covering their mouths, unable to process the shock of hearing such revelations in real time. What made the situation even more explosive was how personal it felt for everyone involved. Friends who had seen Ty pour her heart into this relationship were enraged on her behalf, while others couldn't ignore the chemistry between Evelyn and the man, now exposed in a way that made the betrayal undeniable. Emotions ran high, and soon the argument escalated beyond just words. Ty moved closer to Evelyn, her finger pointing directly at her as she spat out, "You ruined everything." Evelyn, refusing to be painted as the villain, shot back with, "Equal force, don't put this all on me. He made choices too. He's lying to you? That's not my fault." This back and forth highlighted the messy triangle at the center of the scandal, where no one walked away blameless. The man, though absent from the scene, became the focal point of the fury. Fans online were quick to slam him for playing both, women calling him manipulative and selfish. At the fire between Ty and Evelyn stole the spotlight. The emotional toll on Ty was clear. Her voice, though strong, wavered with pain as she admitted, "I trusted him, and I trusted you. You were supposed to be my friend." Evelyn's eyes softened for a brief moment as if she felt the weight of those words, but pride kept her from admitting fault. Instead, she muttered, "Feelings happen. I didn't plan this." Those words, rather than calming the storm, ignited. It further. Observers described the energy in the room as unbearable, a mix of heartbreak, fury, and disbelief. It was no longer just about a shared boyfriend, it was about loyalty, respect, and betrayal. One friend attempted to intervene, pleading with them to lower their voices. But Ty snapped, "Don't tell me to calm down when everything I believed in just shattered." Her raw honesty struck a chord with many fans later, who flooded social media with messages of support, insisting that no one deserves to be blindsided in such a cruel way. As the night wore on, more details began to spill, each one more damaging than the last. Evelyn, feeling cornered, admitted that her involvement with the man wasn't just recent, but had stretched back further than Ty realized. The revelation left everyone stunned, as it meant the overlap wasn't just a mistake, it was deliberate. Ty's reaction was explosive, her hands gesturing wildly as she exclaimed, "So, all this time, you smiled in my face, knowing the truth? You hugged me, you sat at my table, and you lied every single time." The betrayal cut deeper because it wasn't just about romance, it was about friendship. Fans online echoed this sentiment, pointing out that while relationships come and go, the breaking of a sisterhood is often the most painful wound. Some sided with Ty completely, arguing that Evelyn had crossed an unthinkable line, while others claimed that both women were victims of a man who skillfully manipulated them. Adding to the drama were the whispers from the crowd of onlookers, some of whom claimed the man had a history of similar behavior with other women. Though unconfirmed, these murmurs only fueled the fire, making the entire situation seem larger than life. Suddenly, it wasn't just about two women fighting over one man, it became a story about a pattern of deception, heartbreak, and the dangers of trusting the wrong person. The night ended with emotions spilling over, tears streaming down Ty's face as she shouted, "I can't believe you did this to me." Evelyn, still defensive, muttered under her breath, "You'll never understand." The crowd remained divided, unsure of whether to comfort Ty in her grief or acknowledge Evelyn's pain. Because even though she had played a part in the betrayal, she too had been deceived in ways she wasn't ready to admit. When the dust settled, fans were left with a story that felt almost too dramatic to be real, yet every word carried the weight of genuine emotion. The chaos of that night became the talk of social media, sparking debates, memes, and endless commentary. The following morning, the fallout of the confrontation had already begun to spread like wildfire. Word of what went down between Ty and Ta. And Evelyn traveled faster than anyone could imagine, and within hours, fans online were dissecting every detail. Videos from people who had been in the room leaked onto social media, showing snippets of Ty's anger and Evelyn's defensive stance. Hashtags trended almost instantly, with viewers taking sides and igniting debates about who was really to blame. Ty woke up to her phone buzzing endlessly, messages of support pouring in from friends and strangers alike. "You deserve better," one message read, while another bluntly said, "Drop both of them, he and Evelyn don't deserve your loyalty." While the flood of sympathy gave Ty strength, it also reminded her that her humiliation was now public, and that cut just as deeply. On the other side, Evelyn faced a very different reaction. While some defended her with the argument that feelings cannot always be controlled, many labeled her as a betrayer of sisterhood. Comments like, "How could you do that to a friend?" and "No excuse for crossing that line" flooded her accounts. She scrolled through the storm of backlash in silence, her jaw tight. refusing to let anyone see the guilt that was quietly gnawing at her. Meanwhile, the man at the center of this chaos suddenly became the most despised figure in the story. His name was dragged across countless online platforms, with fans labeling him a manipulator who thrived on pitting women against each other. Rumors swirled that he had already moved on to yet another woman, though no one could confirm if it was true. This speculation only fueled the drama, painting him as a serial player who had no regard for the damage he left behind. The emotional weight on Tai grew heavier when she realized the betrayal wasn't just about romance, it was about trust. She confided in a close friend during a late-night call, her voice breaking as she said, "I don't even know who to be angrier at. Him for lying to me, or her for smiling in my face while she knew." Her friend reassured her, reminding her that healing would take time. But the pain in Tai's voice revealed how deep the wound had cut. Evelyn, too, found herself reflecting on the choices that led to this chaos. While she maintained her defensive stance in public, behind closed doors she admitted to her cousin that guilt was eating her alive. "I never wanted it to go this far," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her cousin tried to comfort her, but the reality remained. The damage was done, and no amount of regret could undo the hurt. The tension only escalated when Tai and Evelyn ended up at the same event just days later. Neither wanted to back down, and their mere presence in the same room sent shockwaves through the crowd. Whispers followed them, with people watching their every move, waiting to see if another confrontation would erupt. For a while, both women kept their distance, pretending not to notice each other. But as the night wore on, the inevitable happened. Tai, unable to contain her emotions, approached Evelyn with a trembling voice but fierce eyes. "You think you can just walk around like nothing happened?" she demanded. Evelyn, already bracing for the encounter, shot back. "I'm not going to hide. You don't get to act like I'm the only one who did wrong." The argument quickly grew louder, drawing attention from everyone nearby. People tried to intervene, but the pain between the two women was raw and uncontainable. Tai accused Evelyn of betrayal, while Evelyn insisted that the man's lies had manipulated them both. "He told me you were finished with him," Evelyn repeated, her voice shaking, but Tai was unmoved. "Don't twist it," she snapped. "You knew better." The intensity of the moment became unbearable, and once again, fans who witnessed it couldn't help but record, ensuring that yet another wave of drama would flood social media. Within hours, new videos surfaced online showing the fiery exchange, and once again, viewers chose sides. One of the most shocking turns came when a mutual friend decided to speak out publicly. This friend claimed that the man had intentionally played both women, going so far as to brag about it behind closed doors. He loved the attention, the friend revealed. He would say things like, "They'll never leave me," because they both think they're special. This revelation shook fans to their core, confirming what many had already suspected, that the chaos wasn't just accidental but orchestrated. The betrayal hit Tai even harder upon hearing this. Her trust, already shattered, now felt obliterated by the knowledge that she had been nothing more than a pawn in someone else's game. In a tearful conversation with her sister, she confessed, "I feel so stupid for believing in him. I thought he loved me, and all along I was just entertainment." Her sister embraced her, urging her not to blame herself, but the wound was undeniable. Evelyn's reaction to the revelation was equally intense. Though she had defended herself repeatedly, the realization that she, too, had been manipulated left her speechless. During a private talk with her cousin, she admitted, "I thought I was in control, but I was being used just like Tai." For the first time, her tone carried a sense of humility. Though it was too late to repair the damage between her and Tai. Fans watching this unfold online expressed mixed feelings. While many sympathized with both women, others argued that Evelyn still crossed an unbreakable boundary. The debates grew so heated that online forums dedicated entire threads to dissecting every detail of the drama. with some even predicting that the feud between Ty and Evelyn would never be resolved. The man at the center of it all, meanwhile, remained conspicuously silent. His refusal to address the situation only fueled speculation that he enjoyed the chaos, watching from a distance as the women tore each other apart. This silence was seen by many as the ultimate act of arrogance, further cementing his image as the villain of the story. What made the situation even more complicated was the ripple effect it had on their wider circle. Friends found themselves divided, some siding with Ty out of loyalty, while others felt Evelyn deserved understanding, believing she too had been deceived. Group gatherings became tense, with people avoiding the topic altogether. Though the tension was impossible to ignore, the weight of public scrutiny also played a role in intensifying the drama. Every move Ty and Evelyn made was dissected online. From the clothes they wore to the expressions on their faces, fans speculated on whether their social media posts contained hidden messages directed at each other, with cryptic captions fueling endless interpretations. Despite the chaos, one thing was clear. Both women were forever changed by the betrayal. Ty, once trusting and open-hearted, now carried an edge of guardedness, while Evelyn, once carefree, now struggled under the shadow of guilt. The man may have been the spark that ignited the fire, but the flames had consumed far more than anyone expected, as the tension between Ty and Evelyn grew. The drama only deepened with new revelations that made the situation spiral further out of control. Fans who thought they had already seen the peak of the chaos were in for another shock, when whispers began spreading that the man at the center of the scandal had more secrets than anyone realized at first. It started with subtle hints online. An anonymous account posted that he had been seen spending time with yet another woman in a different city, hinting that Ty and Evelyn weren't the only ones caught in his web. While many dismissed it as gossip, screenshots soon surfaced showing him in cozy situations that left little doubt. The betrayal, already massive, now seemed endless. And both women felt the sting of humiliation all over again. Ty's fury reignited when she saw the images. Pacing in her living room, she vented to a close friend. "How many of us are there? It's like he's collecting women as trophies." Her voice cracked with both rage and heartbreak, her body trembling as she tried to make sense of it all. The friend urged her to cut ties completely, but Ty wasn't ready to walk away without holding him accountable. Evelyn, too, was left reeling, though she had already faced backlash for betraying Ty. This new revelation made her feel just as deceived. In a late-night phone call with her cousin, she admitted, "I thought I was different to him. I thought he chose me over her. But now I see I was just another name on his list." The realization shattered whatever pride she had clung to, leaving, her voice heavy with regret. The situation exploded further. When both Ty and Evelyn were invited to a family gathering where the man was expected to appear, neither woman wanted to be there, but avoiding it would have meant admitting defeat in front of mutual friends and family, so they reluctantly showed up. The atmosphere was tense from the moment they walked in, with everyone watching to see how the three would interact. He arrived late, confident, and calm, as if the chaos swirling around him didn't matter. Ty confronted him almost immediately, her words sharp and unfiltered. "You made me look like a fool. You lied to my face, and you played me against her." Her voice shook, but her eyes blazed with anger. Instead of apologizing, he smirked and shrugged. "You're overreacting. You always make things bigger than they are." The dismissiveness in his tone only fueled Ty's rage, and she stepped closer, her fists clenched. "Don't you dare downplay what you did to me," she snapped, her voice carrying across the room. Evelyn, unable to stay silent, joined this confrontation. "And what about me?" she demanded, her voice breaking. "You told me she was out of the picture. You told me I was the only one." Her eyes filled with tears, the weight of betrayal finally crashing down on her in front of everyone. Instead of offering clarity, he lashed out defensively. "You both knew what this was. Don't act brand new. I never promised either of you forever." The coldness in his words silenced the room. People gasped, shocked at his audacity, while Ty's face went pale with fury. "You're disgusting." Ty spat, her voice shaking with raw emotion. "You made me believe in something real, and you turned it into a game." Evelyn, standing nearby, wiped her tears and whispered, "I can't believe I let you get this far." The confrontation became so intense that family members stepped in, trying to calm the situation. Ty's brother, unable to watch her suffer, confronted the man directly. "You don't get to humiliate my sister like this," he growled, his fists clenched. The room buzzed with tension as people scrambled to prevent the fight from turning physical social. Media once again erupted when clips from the gathering leaked online. Fans were divided, some expressing sympathy for Ty, others showing compassion for Evelyn. But almost everyone agreed that the man's arrogance and lack of remorse were jaw-dropping. Comments flooded timelines. "He's the real villain here. Ty deserves better," and Evelyn learned her lesson the hard way. But the story took an even darker twist when a woman from his past decided to come forward publicly. She revealed that she, too, had been involved with him not long ago and that he had made the same promises to her. In a lengthy post, she described how he had manipulated her emotions, convincing her she was special while secretly juggling multiple relationships. The revelation sent shockwaves through the fan base. It confirmed what many suspected, that he had a pattern of deceit and manipulation, leaving behind a trail of broken trust wherever he went. Ty and Evelyn, though still at odds, both found themselves stunned by the depth of his duplicity. The scandal grew so large that entertainment outlets picked it up, turning the personal drama into a national conversation. Headlines screamed about betrayal, lies, and explosive confrontations, while commentators debated whether Ty and Evelyn should turn their anger away from each other and focus entirely on him. Despite the growing awareness of his toxic behavior, Ty and Evelyn struggled to let go of their personal grievances. The wounds between them were too raw, and every time they crossed paths, sparks flew. During one heated exchange, Ty looked Evelyn in the eye and said bitterly, "You knew better. But you still chose him over our friendship." Evelyn, her face streaked with tears, whispered, "I made a mistake, but don't act like you've never ignored red flags for love." Their words hung heavy, capturing the complexity of their emotions. Both women were victims of manipulation, yet the betrayal of their bond weighed just as heavily as the lies of the man who deceived them. In the midst of all this, fans began speculating about whether the two women might eventually reconcile. Not for the sake of the man, but for themselves. They deserve to stand together, not fight each other. One fan commented, while another added, "The real power move would be if they both walked away from him forever." Still, reconciliation seemed far off, especially as tensions reached a boiling point during yet another public encounter. This time, the confrontation escalated so quickly that security had to step in to separate them before things turned physical. The scene only added fuel to the fire, making fans wonder how far the feud would go before someone finally decided to step back with every new twist. The drama became less about romance and more about emotional survival in the face of betrayal, public humiliation, and shattered trust. Ty and Evelyn, once friends, now stood on opposite sides of a battlefield created by lies, both struggling to reclaim their dignity while the world watched. The fallout from the never-ending scandal reached its absolute peak when Ty and Evelyn were both invited to an industry event where dozens of cameras were rolling. Neither wanted to back out because doing so would look like weakness in the eyes of fans and critics alike. The tension in the air was so thick it seemed to follow them from the moment they stepped onto the red carpet. Every reporter, every photographer, every onlooker knew something was bound to happen, and no one could look away. Ty arrived first, her face calm but her eyes betraying the storm within. She wore a sharp outfit, every detail screaming confidence, even though her heart was still scarred by betrayal. Evelyn arrived shortly after, equally determined to look unshaken. The crowd buzzed with whispers as the two women locked eyes across the room. The man at the center of the storm showed up last, striding in with a careless grin as if none of the chaos mattered to him. That grin alone set both women off internally. Fans who watched the live stream commented instantly, "He looks way too smug for someone who ruined so many lives. I can't stand the arrogance, and Ty and Evelyn deserve better." The evening unraveled quickly, seated just a few tables apart. Ty and Evelyn were both forced to endure his presence while listening to him casually charm others in the room. Ty muttered under her breath to a friend, "Look at him, acting like he's untouchable." Evelyn, overhearing, snapped back, "At least now you see who he really is." The words sparked a confrontation. The room fell silent as the two women began exchanging heated remarks. Ty accused Evelyn of betraying her trust, while Evelyn fired back, claiming she too was lied to and used. The intensity of their emotions spilled over until both women were standing, their voices rising, and cameras flashing relentlessly. He tried to intervene, smirking as if he could calm them down, but his presence only inflamed the situation further. Ty turned on him instantly. "Don't even try. You don't get to play the hero after creating this mess." Evelyn added, her voice trembling, "You're the reason we're standing here tearing each other apart." His dismissive laugh was the final straw. "You both chose this. Don't blame me for your decisions," he said, leaning back with arrogance. The crowd gasped, unable to believe the audacity of his response. Even those who had tried to defend him before were stunned into silence. The confrontation reached its breaking point when Ty, her voice filled with fury, shouted, "You'll never break me again. I'm done with you." Evelyn, with tears streaming down her face, added, "Me too. I refuse to let you control my life any longer." In that rare moment, despite their differences, the two women found themselves united in one truth. They both deserved better than the lies he had fed them. The room erupted in applause. Not for the man, but for the women finally standing up for themselves. Fans online immediately began praising the moment as iconic. "This is history," one tweet read, while another declared they finally took their power back. But the drama didn't end there. In the aftermath of the event, more people came forward with stories about how he had manipulated them. The revelations piled up, painting a picture of a man who thrived on chaos and control. His reputation took a massive hit, with once loyal supporters turning their backs on him. Brands that had once worked with him cut ties overnight, and his once bright image dimmed in front of everyone's eyes. Ty and Evelyn, however, slowly began to rebuild. While reconciliation didn't happen instantly, the event marked the first step toward healing. Both women realized that their true enemy wasn't each other, it was the man who had deceived them. Though their friendship was still fractured, there was now an unspoken acknowledgement of shared pain that connected them in ways no one else could understand. Behind the scenes, conversations between them became less hostile. Evelyn admitted quietly, "I wish I had listened when you warned me." Ty, still hurt but softening, replied, "We both ignored the signs, but we're stronger now." Those words, though simple, hinted at the possibility of rebuilding a bond that had once seemed irreparably broken. Fans were left buzzing, speculating about what might happen next. Some hoped for a public reconciliation, while others thought the two women should focus entirely on themselves, leaving the past behind. One fan comment captured the sentiment best: whether they become friends again or not, what matters is that they both stood up and walked away from toxicity. The story, however, carried a lingering sense of unfinished business. Though he had been exposed and humiliated, the man at the center of the storm still refused to accept responsibility. In interviews, he tried to spin the narrative, claiming he had been misunderstood, that the women were overreacting, and that the public had blown things out of proportion. But the damage was done. No one was buying his excuses anymore. His downfall only amplified the strength of Ty and Evelyn's voices. They began using their platforms to speak about self-respect, toxic relationships, and the importance of trusting your instincts. Though some critics accused them of capitalizing on the scandal, their words resonated deeply with fans who saw themselves in their stories of heartbreak and resilience. The conclusion of their saga wasn't about who won or who lost, but about the journey of reclaiming power after betrayal. The cameras had captured every tear, every scream, every explosive moment. But what fans cherished most was the resilience they saw in Ty and Evelyn. In the end, the shocking night reveal that had once torn them apart became the catalyst for transformation. They had been dragged into a nightmare of lies and humiliation. But they emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined to never let anyone control their worth again. For fans, it was a reminder that reality television drama often mirrors real life where betrayal, heartbreak, and resilience intertwine in ways both painful and inspiring. The saga of Ty, Evelyn, and the man who deceived them may have begun with chaos, but it concluded with empowerment, leaving everyone watching both shaken and inspired. What began as whispers of a secret night turned into one of the most unforgettable storms reality drama fans have ever witnessed. Ty and Evelyn, once pitted against each other by lies and manipulation, stood tall in the end, refusing to let betrayal define them. The man at the center of it all may have thought he could walk away untouchable, but what actually happened was the complete unraveling of his image in front of millions. Fans saw through the arrogance, the excuses, and the empty charm, and instead rallied behind the two women who turned their pain into power. The biggest takeaway from this shocking saga wasn't just the betrayal itself, but the resilience on display. Emotions ran high, the family was divided, and friendships were tested in ways few could imagine. But the story ended with a powerful reminder that truth always surfaces and strength always follows heartbreak. And now the real question is, where do they all go from here? Will Ty and Evelyn fully reconcile and rebuild the trust that once connected them? Or has too much damage been done? Will he ever truly admit the harm he caused, or continue hiding behind his excuses? The uncertainty keeps everyone guessing, and fans around the world can't stop speculating about what might happen next. But one thing is certain: you've been part of this roller coaster, and your opinion matters. Do you think Ty and Evelyn should leave the past behind and become allies again? Or should they keep their distance and focus solely on themselves? And what about him? Does he deserve a chance at redemption? Or has he crossed the line for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button if you were just as shocked as the rest of us. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next explosive twist.